Here with me now, editor of The Insider, Michael Weiss, and MS Now senior national security reporter, David Rohde. David, there are a whole lot of versions out there of this MOU, and we have not been able to independently, officially confirm the version, is my understanding. But given the direction this seems to be going, how it is all shaping up, have we fundamentally lost this war?
The quick answer is yes, and I think Michael will agree with me. We have a copy of one of these versions. Inzamam Rashid, our colleague in Dubai, has it. The Wall Street Journal just put out a version this morning. Bloomberg has published it. They're all consistent. Some of the wording is a little different, but on a variety of levels, and we can get into this, this is a win for Iran, and this is not as good a deal as the Obama-era JCPOA agreement. It's just not. And again, I can explain more, but that's the headline.
Well, speaking of headlines, MS Now was actually able to get a list of the talking points that the White House is sending out right now to congressional Republicans to try to spin this whole thing, Michael. They include that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Trump ended the fighting on every front, including Lebanon. And the Strait is open again, guys.
The Strait that was closed by Iran at the start of the war but had been open before the war. Iran has committed to never having a nuclear weapon simply by becoming a signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty. It was in the JCPOA, the Obama-era deal, so their verbal commitment amounts to nothing, according to our own intelligence agency, including what John Ratcliffe is leaking to the press. We can't trust them on this. Another interesting point, Lebanon. Twinning a ceasefire in Lebanon to a ceasefire in Iran actually upends one of the stated operational objectives of Epic Fury. One of those objectives was, as General Kane pointed out, eliminate Iran's patronage and financing and arming of terrorist proxies. The war in Lebanon is between Israel and Hezbollah. What the United States is now certifying is not only have we not eliminated Iran's patronage of Hezbollah, we are counting on Iran to rein in its proxy in Lebanon, in exchange for which we will do the same for the Israelis. The Israelis are beside themselves. For the first time in the special relationship with the United States, they feel like their freedom of action has now been severely limited. A pair of golden handcuffs has been placed on Benjamin Netanyahu. The way Donald Trump talks about Israel, it's like a vassal state. They have no sovereignty. They have no autonomy. They do what I tell them to do. This is the worst possible state of affairs for Israeli security hawks to be in right now.
I want you to listen, Michael, to some of what the president said earlier today.
Mm-hmm. Is the text of the agreement now final, or are you still...
No, it's not final. It's a memorandum of understanding. And if I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs on their head.
When do you expect the wording?
If I don't like it, if they don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head, okay? Because they've misbehaved for 47 years.
Michael, does anyone believe the president when he says stuff like this at this point? He's done the tough talking thing.
Yeah.
He kind of is talking there almost like a parent preparing to spank their child or something. And, you know, it seems from watching this whole thing unfold over the last several months, like the Iranians have kind of tested to see, okay, what will this man actually do in response to a lot?
Right.
And what they found was, oh, no, he's desperate to actually have a deal. He does not want to go back to all-out war.
Absolutely. And a lot of people are saying, you know, there are too many contradictions in this MOU. It's all going to fall apart and end in tears and hostilities will be renewed. I agree. I think hostilities will be renewed. But I also think Donald Trump got very bored of this war very early on. Remember, the ceasefire, which he described as the most violated ceasefire in history, was longer than the actual state of conflict. Marco Rubio said this war was over several weeks ago, right? We're kind of in this state of non-war, non-peace. Now you have an MOU, which, let's be very clear about what this spells out, right? Donald Trump went from saying that the Iranians are the most dishonorable people, they don't argue in good faith, you can't trust them. He was going to erase their civilization. Just yesterday, he said, they're rational actors. They're pragmatists. They're de-radicalized. Mm-hmm. We can negotiate with them. He used the word normalize relationships.
The vice president also said that one of the coolest things about all of this is that basically the Iranians have started to rethink 47 years of strategy.
Not just the Iranians. The IRGC has started to rethink 47 years of cold and hot war with the United States. The IRGC, their militias in Iraq, according to our own Pentagon history of the Iraq war and occupation, IRGC militias are responsible for more American blood than any entity in Iraq, save for al-Qaeda in Iraq. But J.D. Vance has seen the cut of their jib, and he likes what he sees. It's a cool thing now. Everybody's going to make nice. Look, I think the way to read this is Donald Trump went in thinking he's going to do quick and easy regime change. He was sold a bill of goods by hawks in this country, by the Israelis. It didn't work out. Now what he thinks is, okay, instead of regime change, I'm going to deal with the more hardliners in this regime, and I'm just going to make nice with them. I'm going to normalize ties with them. I'm going to bring Iran in from the cold. I'm going to treat them like the Persian UAE. Everyone's going to sign the Abraham Accords. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be wonderful. And a new era of peace is upon us. In defeat, I see only hubris and naivete that would make the worst of what Republicans ever said about a Democrat, including Barack Obama, pale in comparison. And that's why, I mean, honestly, I'm getting messages from Republican hawks, pro-war Republican hawks, who are absolutely bereft. They are beside themselves. They don't know what happened. Okay? And the things they're saying in private, they will not say publicly.
David, I have to ask you one last question really quick. You know, Michael was speaking there a moment ago about the way in which the Israelis feel betrayed by all of this. But to some extent, is this not Netanyahu's own fault? I mean, he played a major role in convincing Trump that this could be an easy regime change operation. Go in there, we're going to get it done. They're ready to rise up. All this stuff was in the reporting.
Yes.
And now they feel betrayed.
It's true that Bibi's promises of how easy this would be have not been true. And they do feel betrayed. And none of the things that you were just talking about, this stuff that J.D. Vance has said in public, senior administration officials said that this new regime is going to, they said they're going to want to be like a new Saudi Arabia, that they can get this huge amounts of money, vastly more. President Obama and the JCPOA, we're talking about $1.7 billion in seized assets. There's $100 billion in seized assets that might start immediately going back to Iran in just the next 60 days, and then another $300 billion at the end of it. So this regime is going to use that money.
Don't have to be good at math to figure that out.
And they will use that money to rebuild their missile stockpiles, to target Iran and their neighbors, and to continue funding proxies. The words missiles and proxies are not in any of these drafts of the Memorandum of Understanding.
Eliminating the missile program, by the way, another stated operational objective. But they still have missiles that they can threaten to fire at Israel.
So we folded on every single objective?
Yeah, the one thing you might give them credit for, they did sink the Iranian Navy. So that was the fifth objective. I guess that was mission accomplished.
All right. Well, Michael Weiss, David Rohde, always good to talk to the two of you.